Hello, thanks for watching. My name is Chris Lindsay and thanks for taking the time to watch this live video. I want to talk to you this week about what I believe is to be my most important core value. So this value is something that you might not even consider to be one that you'd want to hold. In fact, it might be one that you might want to consider avoiding. So keep watching to find out what that is. So I was actually surprised myself when I discovered this was a value which actually was quite vital to me in my success in overcoming adversity. So I have dyslexia, which means I see words and letters differently. So I could have seen these differences as limitations, but what in fact if they were actually an advantage? So let me explain. So I had to work harder than normal to master reading and spelling. And this created a potential for me to stretch myself and to grow stronger. And it was something that I actually grew to value over time. So what is it that you value? Is it stretching out in front of the TV watching Netflix, or is it stretching yourself, finding your limitations and pushing past them? So I could have seen dyslexia as a limitation for me to accept, but I never saw it that way. I put strategies in place to help me overcome it and also became obsessed with reading. So this value that I'm talking about is challenge. So let me give you a little example about why I see challenge as so vital. There was a biodome that was being built in the Arizona desert in the late 80s. So this was a perfectly controlled environment for growing plants and for animals and humans to live in for extended periods of time for research. But what they discovered was that trees would grow to a certain height within this environment and then they would start toppling over. And the scientists were quite baffled by this initially until they worked out that the one thing that this environment was missing was wind. So the trees actually needed the wind to be bent and shaken, and that allowed them to grow straight and strong. So without the wind to challenge the trees, they weren't able to grow to their full potential. Their root systems weren't able to grow deep enough because they weren't living in a challenging environment. So I want to get you to think about your limitations that you might have in fact as an advantage, as something that creates challenge within your environment to allow you to grow strong and create resilience in your life. So next time you're thinking about challenges or limitations that you're trying to avoid or wish weren't there, see them as an advantage. See them as something to be embraced to allow you to grow stronger, like with me overcoming my dyslexia. So that actually challenge allows you to grow to your full potential, just like the trees could grow to their full potential when they were stretched and bent by the wind, rather than being in this perfectly safe environment without wind. Actually it was a limiting factor for those trees. So see challenge as an advantage. And I want you to ultimately think of challenge as something to be valued, as I see challenge as probably one of my number one core values. So again, thanks for watching this week's video. If you've got any questions or comments, please leave them below and I will endeavour to answer them, and I will speak to you again next week.